Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am sitting here in a tank top and it is absolutely freezing in my house, and the reason for that being we are going to swatch every single one of my Nomad Cosmetics palette, and I needed some skin bare, so here we are. So without further ado, let's just get to this because I'm cold. Here they all are in all their beautiful glory. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the Nomad Air palette. This one is my favorite one, this Nomad Air Oslo Gardermoen palette. It's my favorite because it's the Norway palette and I'm Norwegian. This is a 6-pan palette with 4 mattes and 2 shimmers. It's a cool tone neutral color story, and clearly I've gotten a bit of use out of it. I reach for it a lot. Let's start with the shade Minimal, Practical, Natural, Functional, Nordic Cool. I love this shade. This is one of my favorite shades in the palette. And that gorgeous Democratic Design. Gorgeous, right? We have the original Nomad Air. It's a regular, just 6-pan neutral color story. I've also reached for this one a lot. Start with Let's Take Off, Up, Up, and Away, Fly the Skies, Find Your Wings, Follow the Sun, and See the World. Isn't that stunning? Nomad Travel Canadian Rockies palette. This is like a green color story, like a blue-green. Her shade is Brave the Bears. The next is Moose Crossing. Take a Hike. Look at that. Mountain Calling. My nail kind of got that one. Find Your Peak. River Rafting. That was slightly embarrassing. I just look up in the camera and there's lipstick all over my teeth. Now we have Abu Dhabi Zayed, and this is another travel palette. It's a 6-pan, 4 matte and 2 shimmer palette. Start with Rising Dunes, Souks and Bazaars, Endless Sands, Spice Market, Golden Hour, and Desert Oasis. Now this is a discontinued palette, but I still love it like it was brand new. This is the Sydney Bathers palette. This is actually a face palette. It is 1 matte bronzer, 2 shimmery bronzers, and a highlighter. Even though this is an old palette, it still performs for me like it did the day that I got it. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this out. Balmoral Beach, Tamara Beach, Bondi Beach, and Manly Beach. This is the Chicago Speakeasy palette. This one just recently launched. I haven't really gotten much of a chance to play with this one, and I keep meaning to like pull it out and play with it, so I might do a tutorial for you. This is a 15-pan color story with 9 mattes and 5 shimmers. This one also features the multi-chrome formula. So we're gonna go ahead and swatch this. I think I'm kind of running out of room on my chest and neck, so I think we're gonna have to move to the arms and shoulders on this one. First shade we have is the Drifter, and the Violet Hour, the Green Mill, the Drunken Goat. Look at how that covered that up. That's insane. The Absinthe House, the Blind Pig, Knock and Speakeasy, Capone, the Windy City. Let's clean my fingers first. Windy City and Prohibition. Now we're gonna move on to these gorgeous shimmery multi-chromes. Chicago Fizz, And then Aviation, South Side. This one I really like because it's like, it's a brown, but it's a green, but it's full of a deer. It's JENB. Aren't these stunning? Next one that we have is the newest, one of the newer ones. This is the last release of 2024. This is the Nomad Polar Express palette. This is a 15 pan palette, 8 mattes and 7 shimmers. I believe one of these is a multi-chrome too. So we'll go ahead and swatch these out. First shade is Snowy Mountain, really pretty white. Next one is North Pole. Please excuse my jiggly arms. Desert of Ice, Frozen Sea. Ooh, that's pretty. Nougat Candy. So that is Nougat Candy. Next is Hot Cocoa. Ooh, it's very pretty. And Dark Forest. First shade is Olive Board. It is a really shimmery white color. Next we have Silver Bell. Followed me on Instagram at all, you've seen a look with that one, and everybody really liked that one. Next we have Mr. C, a very pretty bold shade. Next we have Polar Express. This I think is a multi-chrome. Yes, it is. And we have First Gift. This one I really want to do something with because it's really pretty. And the last shimmer in this palette is Believe. This is the palette that made me fall in love with Nomad Cosmetics. This is the Tokyo Harajuku palette. It is a, I believe this one's 15 pan. Yeah, this is 15 pan, 10 shimmer or 10 mattes, and some of these are like a satiny matte. Let me get this in the frame here. And then there's 5 shimmers. I just absolutely fell in love with the formula with this one. I had to replace this at one point because when I moved into this apartment, this palette got shattered. The first shade is called Kawaii. Next we have Takinoko Zuku, Melty Room. This is actually one of my favorite shades in this palette. Kakigori. One of my daughters also has this palette. She loves Japanese culture and she loves like anime. So I thought this, she kept stealing my original one, so I ended up buying it for her for her birthday. Visual Key. This is another one of my favorite shades in the palette. I know it's kind of an odd shade to say it's a favorite, but it just, if you look good in cool tones, this is a great shade for you. Lolita. Another great shade. Now is Forever. Hanami. Gyaru. Roy Niji. These shimmers are where it's at in this palette, for real. Jakora. Zaku Zaku. Takashiri Dori. This is probably my favorite shade in the palette though, right here. Moshi Moshi. This shade is so pretty. Otaku. This is like your perfect baby pink multi-chrome goodness. This is the New Zealand Stargazing palette. And this one has probably the prettiest multi-chromes that Nomad has ever created, in my opinion. Go ahead and swatch this out. This is Dark Sky Nation. Running out of room. Probably my favorite black out of any of my palettes. Carter Observatory. Auckland Stardome. Aoraki Mackenzie. Tekapu Stargazing. Cosmos, Southern Lights, Tongariro Night Hike, Queenstown Skyline, all the beautiful shimmers, Carina Nebula. Oh, that's a bad angle. Here, we'll redo that one. Okay, so this is Carina Nebula, Milky Way, Jewel Box, Southern Cross, Aurora Australis, and last but not least, Magellanic Clouds. I always said I wanted to put all of Nomad's shades on my face, but I never thought about putting them all over my body. Why not? Okay, so here's the newest one, the Chamonix Après-Ski palette. This is an 18 pan palette. We're gonna start down this side of our arm. This shade is Hot Savoy here. Off-Piste, Raclette, Mont Blanc, Ski, Fondue. I think Fondue is probably my favorite shade in the palette. It is just so pigmented, and when you pack it on, it just looks like a sticker is on your eye. Vallée Blanche, La Terrace, Last Call, the Alps, which I'm actually using as my highlighter today, Last Run, Vinchot, Chamonix. This one also makes a beautiful highlighter. Après, Aperitif. Ooh, yes. And now these three shades are the shimmers that I am wearing today. Aiguille du Midi, I think I said that right, probably not. I do not speak French. Mountain Chalet, and Shotsky. This is the Florida Keys palette, Peachy and Peachy. So this also is an 18 pan palette. It is very bright colors, very beachy colors. First shade is called Sunrise Salute, Close to Perfect, Isla Madura. I think tells me this should have been the last video that I filmed today, huh? Key Lime Time, very soft, diluted shades. Far From Normal. My cat's is down here trying to climb up here. A lot of cats. I rescue. Sea Meets Sky, Key West, Shipwreck Trail, Overseas Highway, Marathon, Sunset Celebration. And now the shimmer. Dry Tortugas, Conch Republic, Key Largo, Southernmost Point, Rum Runner, Come As You Are, Paradise Found. This is such a pretty shade too. Next up we have last year's March palette, which was the Ireland North Wild Atlantic Way. This is a mostly green palette. If you like greens, you will love this palette. We have Connemara, Blarney Stone, Wild Atlantic Way, Bunratty Castle, Wild Rover, Danny Boy, Taint. Look, if I said that wrong, don't come at me. I'm gonna write this shade name down below. Emerald Isle, Rogue Patrick, Mallinhead, Team Strand, Diut, King of Kerry, Laint, Cliffs of Moher, Savage Beauty, Slain, and last but not least, Cobb Harbor. There we go. And those are all the shimmers for that palette. Next up, we have the Ghost Town USA palette, which this is an 18 pan palette that was last year's Halloween palette. And it made a comeback this year for Halloween season, as well as the Haunted Europe palette came back with it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pick up the Haunted Europe, which I really wanted to, because I used to have that one, and when I moved in, I packed my palettes. And the funny thing is, somewhere in my Google Photos, I have a picture of this. I literally took each one of my palettes, right? And I wrapped and wrapped and wrapped them with bubble wrap, and then I took a marker on the outside of all of my beauty boxes and wrote, "Break it and you bought it." And they still got smashed. I lost my Haunted Europe, and then I wasn't able to afford to replace it this year, so cats. I rescue, so that's where all my money goes. It's these cats. I digress. This is a gorgeous color story. It's like a grungy, neutral color story with a twist, and I love it. If it's still available, I would run and pick it up as soon as you can. First shade we have is Undead Sheriff. And the thing I love about this shade is this is my perfect contour shade. The only one that actually works for me for contour, so I use the crap out of this shade. Bandit Queen, Deadwood, Skinner Saloon, Calamity Jane, Dead Man's Hand, Ghost Town, Stagecoach Mary, Arrested Decay. This is such a really interesting shade, this one is. It's like so dark brown, it's almost black, but it has like an iridescence to it if you look at it in the right light. Now for our stunning, stunning shimmers. Tombstone, Copper Penny, Garnet Montana, I think, what she was headed for with that. It's like Garnet MT. Quicksilver, Firelight Nevada, Ghost Train, Gold Rush, Calico, California, Smoky Quartz, this was the fall release for 2024. This was the Fuji 5 Lakes palette, and it is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It's a 15 pan palette, and it's inspired by the changing of the leaves. And I love the cover of this palette because it's, first of all, it's textured, but it looks like a freaking acrylic color painting. I mean, it's so pretty. So we'll go ahead and swatch her. First we have Momiji, Burning Bush, Red Rowan, Fuji Goko, Mount Fuji, Yellow Poplar. One thing that Nomad does well is like the yellow mattes, because it's like traditionally I can't get yellow mattes to show up on my face for anything except for Nomad. This is Mount Hui, Hoyo, again another yellow matte. See what I mean? And then last but not least, Burnished Beach. Okay, now for the shimmers for the Fuji 5 Lakes. The first one we have is Fiery Maple. Let's go here. We're just gonna find wherever we can find a spot to put these. Kawaguchiko. Without TikTok, I'm gonna miss. There's this one creator that I always watch called Chinese Teacher Molly. Now granted, most of what she taught me was not exactly PC, but especially now that I'm on Red Note, definitely use her assistance now, and that is Diamond Fuji, Office Grass. One red note, it was so funny because he was like, it's so great we're all on here and we're learning how to speak, we're learning the language and we're learning about each other. And then he shows this clip of him sitting there watching an episode of Ni Hao Kailan. Yaman Nakako. That and what I've learned from buying Nomad palettes, so thank you, Felicia, because now I can somewhat navigate red note. And Golden Ginkgo is the last of them. Last but not least, drumroll, I've saved my favorite Nomad palette in my collection for last to share with you. This was not last year, but the year before its Valentine's Day release. The palette that like secured Nomad as my favorite indie brand, and it was because it was like, it brought so much nostalgia to me. Did you guess what it was? Did you guess correctly? The Nomad Cosmetics Verona Amore Morte palette. I love this palette because it reminds me of the original Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. And I am a 90s baby. I totally am. I loved that movie. I loved everything about that movie. And as soon as I picked up this palette, I had to go watch that movie. And the color story alone is like, it won my heart. And I know it's not one of those color stories for everybody, but I'm a goth baby, in case you didn't notice. I mean, I really don't look it today, but like these colors are my colors. If she had put purples in here too, I would never have needed another palette in my life. So without further ado, this is my second one because I crowded my own one and Jade has it now. A lot of people don't like the way this palette opens, but I do. It's almost like having two palettes in one. It's an 18 pan palette with reds, pinks, and then a little bit of the dark side. I absolutely love her. So what we'll do is we'll swatch one side and then we'll swatch the other side. This is the love side and this is the death side. So we'll swatch the love side first. So first we have Paradise, Rose, because Rose by any other name, Light, Love, Balcony, and Quill. So here are the love mattes. First we have Cupid, and Romeo. I can't wait to pull this out this year because Valentine's Day is coming and it's time to pull her out. All right, now for the death side. First we have Tomb, Inferno, Death, Dagger, Poison, and Dark. So these are the mattes on the death side. And now for the shimmers. First we have Moors, Juliet, last but very not least, Tragedy. I love that shade. So guys, there you have it. That is every swatch out of all of my Nomad palette. I am a hot mess. I probably should have filmed this very last today, so apparently this is my last video that I'm filming today. I'm gonna have to take a shower after this. But, I mean, that's a lot of palettes, and if this does not leave you wanting a Nomad palette, I don't know what will. So if you would like to pick up a palette from Nomad Cosmetics, you can use my code JENB, and it will save you 20% off your order. Definitely make sure that you are liking this video, you subscribe, and you share it with a friend who would definitely love a beautiful indie palette. And if I have a ton, like this whole top shelf up here, that's nothing but indie brands. That's my top shelf collection. So if you'd like to see me do this with anything else in my collection, let me know in the comments down below because I am definitely game. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.